And now spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map, Foxtrot Labs, we find our blue Protoss player from Team Fnatic. It is Harstem. And his opponent, playing the same race, the green Protoss player from Cascade 1 Bet, who is agreeing to the pause. It is DaddyForte. Now let's hope that Harstem is not having huge problems right now. It is very early on in the game, so he's probably just fixing his music or something like that. But that should not take too long, but that's a lot of peas. It almost makes me want to go to the toilet, but let's hope that the pause is gone very soon. And, well, Foxtrot Labs, personally, I detest playing on this map. It is so insanely awkward, especially with this high yield base. It opens up another pathway if you mine it out. And actually, I have never seen this gold base be mined out, or even on the other side. Even on games that go to the very late game, it is pretty much impossible to mine from them, because a few ranged units from the back of that mineral line are going to kill everything that is there. So, the pause has been eliminated. We are continuing into this game, and I'm very happy about that. Yeah, okay. Should not matter too much. I also changed a little bit about the overlay. It's taking a little bit less room in the bottom of the screen, so I really like that, especially if I upload everything to YouTube. That's gonna make it a lot more fun for everyone. And it was a little bit awkward when you just had a little area here where you could see it. But very nice update so far, and I'm just more curious about the tech that these players are gonna break, because in this natural base, another thing that makes it very hard in PvP and for Protosses in general, if you get a little bit of a wall of going or something like that, it is pretty much impossible to hold. Not that you wall off in a PvP, but still, the arc that you can get is going to be pretty big outside of that photon overcharge range that you have. Also, there's this area back here where you can blink into the main base in case players want to go for that. But they are opening up with a double gas so far. And let's see how much they want to commit to that gas income. 3 probes so far, rallying into that just as he goes. That, well, he's putting down the cybernetic score. Let's see if he wants to add on more later, or wants to add a second gateway, because in the current state he's not focusing on that gas income desperately. Oh, and DaddyForte, not familiar with the spawn locations. Another problem on this map. Vertical spawns used to be possible, but not anymore. So he checked the top right corner where nothing can be found. And Harstem is gonna... Well, he sent out the scout quite a bit later, but they're going to arrive approximately in the same time. And what is Harstem up to right now? He is putting those 6 probes on gas, going for the Stargate. And this is going to be scouted. There's no way that this probe is going to get rid of that. He cannot deny the scout in what way possible. So let's see what the response from DaddyForte is going to be. Is he going to throw down that Twilight Council, which is a pretty good counter? And most importantly, will this probe make it out? Yes, he will. Wow, that hero probe right there. And in fact, it is going to be the Twilight Council. Blink or Dark Templars can be very difficult to deal with if you go for that Stargate opening. And especially if you know it's coming. It's going to be pretty annoying. Pretty easy to deal with. And actually an Oracle being built. I would even like to see DaddyForte throw down that Stargate and go for Phoenixes from that point forth. Because that Oracle is not going to do anything. And usually if a Stargate does get scouted, you go for Phoenixes immediately. Because if the Oracle is not going to be a surprise, it's not going to do any damage whatsoever. But we will see the extra gateways being added on right now. For Harstem, also going into a Twilight Council. Wow, this can get pretty awkward, because that Oracle is going to be his only source of detection for the Dark Shrine that DaddyForte is going to go for. Now this can hurt him quite a bit if he's not very careful. 2 Stalkers are out on the map trying to chase down that probe. that is putting down the first proxy pylon already. And that Stargate, not going to be used at all. But those Stalkers are actually pretty far out of position. There is, however, a photon overcharge in this base. Yeah, that Oracle has to get out of there immediately. But he still retains all of its energy, which means that it can be used for detection. The probe is being sent out as the Dark Shrine is about to finish up for DaddyForte. But with that detection in place, not too much is gonna happen. And by the way, Harstem, you flew into that base, but did you see the Dark Shrine being built? Yes, he did see it. So he knows exactly what is gonna come. He has the Oracle in position. And he already triggers the detection ability, the Envision, right there quite a bit early. And we do see DaddyForte follow this up with Blink, but will this... Well, he's only committing one Dark Templar. Not too much at all, and this natural base can be taken pretty safely a little bit before DaddyForte is taking his own. Ooh, a little bit of a whiff on that force field right there. He will start working on that Nexus just a little bit. But that force field now working against him. How much detection will the Oracle still provide right now? Well, it has plenty of energy, so not the biggest of deal. But the Dark Templar does make it out of there. Still, of course, the potential to go for Archons in the later stage, but he's not going to need them for now. So both players just going to go for Blink. Harstem getting his robotics facility now too. Because a good counter to Blink Stalkers is, of course, Immortals. It's just like they are running into a brick wall where they just get obliterated by everything. But they're both sitting back just a little bit. Supply still being dead even. The Dark Templar got one kill, which is not gonna... which does not justify that investment, but... he did not lose it either, so no resource loss in that regard. Just that probe. So, who's going to be the first one to be aggressive on this point? 3 gateways currently for DaddyForte. The exact same for Harstem, I do believe. Yeah, he also has 3 gateways. Blink is going to be pretty much defensive being used right now. Because as a follow-up for Dark Templars, you do see a lot of Blink plays. And going for your own Blink is a pretty good counter for that. Because Blink Stalkers are going to trade infinitely better against non-Blink Stalkers. And that's what I said earlier. He has the ability to warp in that Archon. That Archon is going to tank so many Stalker shots, and DaddyForte is going to go on the aggression. He does not have a very close reinforcing pylon, but he can get reinforcements going. The Archon is going to move in. Oh, very aggressive Blink forward. Blink is done for Harstem. Still, he lost 2 of those Stalkers for pretty much free. There's going to be the photon overcharge, but you need a lot of shots to get rid of that Archon. But the probe's even being pulled. Can he hold on here? It's looking very dire. This is a lot of Stalkers actually, and Harstem just stacking up a little bit too aggressive. Finally, the Archon does get taken out with the help of the Oracle even, but still there are so many Stalkers inside his main base. Another Immortal is about to pop. Double photon overcharge, raining down damage on these Stalkers right there. This is a very awkward position, and DaddyForte might be overextending just a little bit, especially with the Immortal now finishing up, blinking down 4 of those Stalkers. 4 Stalkers, of course, one-shotting those probes. But that was held off by Fnatic Harstem. That double photon overcharge did so much for him. But we do see another round of warpins and Stalkers for DaddyForte. Harstem moving forward just a little bit. He has that one Immortal, of course, to help him out. And he has the tech advantage. He also has the Colossus tech already in position. But first, he needs a few more of those Immortals in order to really shut down this Blink play from DaddyForte. So, looking at the resources lost, we do see that 10 Stalkers and an Archon was lost. Oh, nice aggressive Blink on top of that Immortal. But is that going to be worth it? There's still so many Stalkers here, but the Zealots do connect with the Stalkers of DaddyForte. And the Blink play from DaddyForte is just amazing. It's still so insanely close. No real winner from that still, and another Immortal joins the fun. And with that Immortal, well, those 5 Stalkers are not going to do anything right here. But 4 fresh ones have been warped in. He's regenerating those shields a little bit. And let's see, he's chrono boosting those gateways. He did transition out of that a little bit. He's getting his forge so he can go for the upgrades. And he has his robotics facility back at home, but he did not use it at all. He's just warping in Stalkers on the other side of the map. And Harstem a little bit supply block, but 3 pylons about to finish up, so not the biggest of deals at all. And 3 zealots, or 4 zealots even, are gonna tank a lot from those Stalkers, because Stalkers do extra damage against armored units. Zealots, of course, not being that kind of unit. And 2 Immortals, that's a lot of damage. But there's not gonna be energy for a Photon Overcharge, is there? Did he lose the Mothership Core? Yeah, no Mothership Core on the map for Harstem. That can be making things a little bit harder. But DaddyForte is not looking to go for the long game. He's getting his +1 attack upgrade. But so many Stalkers, that's a huge commitment, and especially in the PvP. If this goes into the mid game or late game, those Stalkers are not gonna pull their weight at all. And 2 Immortals, 1 does get focus fire down, but nice pullback from Harstem. Keeps it alive, but the shields have been peeled off, and the shields are what makes the Immortal so insanely powerful. But now a 4th Immortal on the way, the 3rd one is joining this army right now too. But this is an insane amount of Stalkers from DaddyForte right now. 27 Stalkers against the 9 and 3 Immortals from Harstem. But still attacking into this can be insanely tricky. Sentries even being warped in. He can go for the Guardian Shield in case he wants to, or the Force Fields of course. And DaddyForte going for a 3rd base while pressuring his opponent. Guardian Shield Sentry does get picked off. He has to pull back once again. Those Immortals just doing so much damage, and he's not resetting that Immortal count at all. 4 Immortals, you cannot blink on top of that anymore. So let's see how that is going to work out. Harstem is already on his +1. He's working on his +2 attack upgrade too. So he's in great shape with regards to that. But he cannot move on top of the map. He does have that observer to scout out what is going on. And did he spot the 3rd base? No, he does not spot it just yet, but he is rallied there. So he's going to find out about that gold base right now. And he's already seeing those probes being moved there. And that cannot be a good feeling for Harstem. DaddyForte has been pulling ahead in supply, but his army is not the strongest. Reinforcing pylons are going to get taken out right now. And now also the transition into Colossi. Another Dark Templar does get warped in. Of course, the Observer was sniped earlier for with DaddyForte. He does not have an Observer in this army anymore, I do believe. No, he does not have one. So if there is an... Oh, Harstem is out of position right now. He has to be very careful. There is an Observer for Harstem here, however. So the Dark Templars can not have free reign. And Harstem taking his own high yield base. Now, I can understand this decision because, well, DaddyForte has his own. But this is going to be pretty difficult to hold on to, especially with Blink Stalkers everywhere. Remember, 4 Blink Stalkers do one-shot a probe. And this is a lot of Blink Stalkers to one-shot those probes. So let's see how that will work out for him. But his Nexus is so far behind. DaddyForte currently 3 probes up, but his income is 200 minerals per minute higher. Also, the gas income is almost double. That's just insane. But still, he is stuck on those Stalkers. He's mixing in his own Archons. He has Zealots and he has Charge. And that Charge can save him, but the Colossus count is growing. He's going up to a 2nd Colossus right now. It's about to pop, so the 3rd one should start relatively soon. The 3rd base finally finishing up for Harstem. But it's still impossible to say who's going to win the next big fight. Because the amount of Immortals, if you can get it, is going to be amazing for him. The Thermal Lance not done just yet. Nice force fields, trapping a little bit of those Zealots. But finally, a supply block for DaddyForte with that pylon being sniped. But look at that, how exposed those probes are. That's just insane. Now 1 Zealot going to town on one of the pylons. 2 hit points are remaining. 1 more Stalker shot will kill it off. Now the probes have to be evacuated. You don't want to lose them to those Stalker shots. And it's very difficult to keep them safe. Dark Templars being warped into harass at the main base. Taking out the Thermal Lance upgrade. That is a huge pickoff for DaddyForte. And suddenly things are going to go very sour for Harstem right now. There's still 1 Dark Templar hiding out inside that main base, but it will get chased down. Harstem knows what he is doing, but not having thermal lance on those Colossi can make it so insanely hard. Yeah, still has those Immortals, he still has those Colossi, but the Colossi will have the same range as those Stalkers. He's gonna, well, he's not even gonna have an upgrade lead anymore. DaddyForte started his +3 a little bit faster than Harstem actually. Oh, now the Stalkers are just gonna go and trade to the best of their capabilities, but trading against Colossi and Immortals, and especially with Harstem's own Zealots, can be very tricky. Now Harstem has rebuilt his robotics bay right now. He's going on the offensive. The supplies are pretty much equal. And even a 4th base being started by DaddyForte, because he knows he cannot hold on to this base any longer. Not the greatest position to attack that base, but it will still work. Feedback on top of that mothership core, in case there is gonna be that time warp to get Fanatics stuck in a bad position. But we are going to see a base trade scenario from DaddyForte, and he wants to use that mobility to take out the base of Harstem. But he is retreating himself. He does not have charge on his Zealots, and that is really halting him to kill off those Immortals that are lagging behind. But the Zealots still moving in. Harstem has taken the high ground. But those Stalkers, they're so insanely mobile. Zealot charge is going to be done for DaddyForte too. And a lot of those Stalkers not focusing on this main army. The Immortals are still alive. The Immortals of DaddyForte have now been taken out. The Archons are doing the best of their ability to tank the damage. But that is all that she wrote. One Zealot harassing at the natural, but the Immortal will stop it right there. And that was a pretty good fight for Harstem. That army that DaddyForte lost was pretty expensive. But the downside is DaddyForte has a 4th base up and running, which is now going to function as his 3rd base, and he can continue mining from that. And Harstem is not going to have the most amount of economy at this point anymore. Now Harstem also has one Immortal rallied in a very strange way, I do have to say. But let's see, he's retaking that high yield base. He really wants to get that income going, but the point I made earlier has been made clear that it's pretty difficult to hold on to this high yield base. Both of these Nexi have been sniped. There's still a lot of idle drones for probes for DaddyForte. And also Harstem's gonna go straight up to a 4th base. He knows he has map control, but DaddyForte also getting his Colossi count up. Now Thermal Lance is actually now done for DaddyForte. It's not done for Harstem. Did he actually? Yeah, he does have the robotics bay, but he's just starting that extended Thermal Lance right now. And if Harstem takes a fight at this point, it can get very tricky for him. But he still has a lot of Immortals. Those Immortals have been invaluable for him. But the harassment from the Dark Templar has also been pretty amazing from DaddyForte. Sniping that robotics bay, that was a very good snipe for DaddyForte right there. But still, DaddyForte has been on the better economy the entire game for now, pretty much. And now he has stacked up into those Colossi. And he has those Archons. He's just very low on the Immortal count. It's currently 7 Immortals against 0. And, well, he is up 1 Colossus. But against Immortals, Immortals don't really care. They have those hardened shields. And they do a lot of damage against Colossi, especially with the +3 attack being done. Now DaddyForte is continuing to upgrade with his shield upgrades. That's going to help the Archons tank quite a bit more damage. That +1 armor has come down for Harstem. Not going to be as helpful for the Archons, of course, but it's going to help all the other units, and it's a little bit cheaper to get. So let's see how that is going to work out. It's going to come down to the positioning. Both of these players are reaching their max out point very soon with the current economy that they have. But at least it's going to be a very good saving grace for Harstem. The economy is going to be pretty much equal for the rest of this game. Looking at the resource loss, it has been pretty equal so far. Finally, Zealot Charge on the way for Harstem. And with Zealot Charge done, he's probably going to take a lot better fight. And he has that Thermal Lance now too, so he can start looking a little bit for a fight. He still has to be very careful, because no Zealot Charge can really mess up your day, especially if you get flanked by a bunch of Zealots. few stray Stalkers from Harstem are gonna intercept that probe, but still a Dark Templar is at the 5th location. And a lot of probes do get roasted at that high yield base once again. It is so volatile. It is so understandable why that is a high yield base. And these chokes don't get stuck in them. Oh, those Immortals very much exposed. But if you can keep holding on to that high yield base, it's going to be in okay shape. DaddyForte is maxed out, so is Harstem. Time Warp is beautiful for DaddyForte right there. You can pick off one of the Archons for free, and Dark Templar moving forward. Oh, nice swipe from the Colossi, taking out the Dark Templar. Still, is this a fight that Harstem wants to take? DaddyForte is maxed out, Harstem isn't. He's producing another Colossus. He does not have charge just yet. He's still poking and prodding, trying to make something happen. But this army is still a lot of Stalkers for DaddyForte. He is sitting on 18 Stalkers, and those Stalkers are not going to pull their weight. They will get obliterated by Archons, by Immortals, and of course by Colossi. And a one-on-one fight without micro between Zealots and Stalkers, well, that's going to be the win for the Zealots for sure. Especially if they do have charge, it doesn't even matter too much if they blink away. And in the big engagement, you usually cannot go for that blink play anymore. So Zealots will go for the run by towards that 4th base of DaddyForte that might pull him out of position. DaddyForte is moving his entire army to that location. The Zealots are retreating right now. And Harstem is going to go for his own Dark Shrine. Are there any observers on the map for DaddyForte? Yes, there are 3 of them. That's a pretty nice count to stop any kind of harassment. The observers of Harstem is going everywhere. But again, the high yield base does get harassed. Word count's still identical. And this can go on for a while because the positioning just becomes so insanely important for these 2 players. And so many rocks can be taken out to have some more mobility for your army. The 5th base does get scouted by DaddyForte. His natural must be completely empty, and so is Harstem. So they're looking for a 5th base. But look at that War Prism. I don't believe that he spots it. He does see it. That's going to be a big attack to the 4th base. The army of DaddyForte is completely out of position. He does snipe that Nexus and get out of there. Also, there are now Dark Templars for Harstem taking out the Nexus inside the main, but there's no mining from that base at all, so it does not really matter all too much. They're not queued up to do anything other than that. And also some Zealots at the 3rd base. Wow, there's just harassment everywhere for now. But still, DaddyForte is still being maxed out. He has a very strong army. He is slowly trading away. No, he's not even trading away those Stalkers. I'd really like to see them at least go for some harassment behind this mineral line. That would be amazing already. But there's a lot of Stalkers, a lot of Zealots, and a lot of Dark Templars inside the main base, harassing the infrastructure. And there is going to be detection, so the Dark Templars do get taken out. But that War Prism, still here. Looked like he was trying to harass with a little bit, but the Zealots from Harstem have been able to stop that. And now also 2 Stargates and the Fleet Beacon have been warped in, so it can go for Tempest to deal with the Colossi of DaddyForte just a little bit easier. DaddyForte is not going for his own Tempest at this point. He does not have that Stargate. He's just saying to Colossus Archon for now. But with those Blink Stalkers, those Tempests do have to be very careful, because blinking on top of the Tempest does take them out pretty fast. So let's see how that is going to work out for them. I love the move from Harstem to get that Oracle out, because with that Oracle you can just tag your opponent's army and you will know exactly where they are. That's going to help you a lot in the positioning, and you won't have to send all those Zealots to their death, because the Oracle has the opportunity to get out of there. And again, Zealot harassment at the 5th base. Oh, DaddyForte wants to make something happen. If this is a choke that Harstem has to go through, he's going to have a very bad day. So he pretty much has to sack this base at this point. He cannot defend it, but once the army of DaddyForte is gone, he can go for the defense. He's probably going to be able to save it after all, but the Nexus, the 5th base, has gone down. double forge are upgrading here still. But they should not live for too much longer either. He's gonna go for the +3 shield upgrade from that upgrade, but that is not gonna happen. Again, DaddyForte gonna go for the Dark Templar harassment. Still, that War Prism is present right there. And that Nexus does fall. Cannot save it, even though it was very close, but very close. Does not win you the game. So still, the Tempest count will start growing. Where are those Tempests? There are already 5 Tempests out. And those Tempests are going to do a lot of damage against the Colossi. And without the Colossi, you just have a bunch of Stalkers, 1 Immortal, and a bunch of Archons underneath it. And that is not what you want in the late game scenario. No, 1 Dark Templar is going to get the damage done here. That War Prism, so insanely important. And there's going to be the tag. Harstem will have a lot of positional advantage, and of course the boost from the range from those Tempests, of course. But he has to be very careful to not let that Dark Templar from DaddyForte do too much damage. The pathway has been opened up. Another Nexus might fall here. Oh, it is going to go down. There's no way. DaddyForte is too far out of position, and DaddyForte has been struggling to get a good position on this army of Harstem, actually. So will he be able to take a good fight? Oh, the Colossi have been taking another route. This is going to be horrible for him. The Colossi are fighting without any support. And the first 3 Colossi have already gone down. 4 Colossi are not going to be down. And now the Archons are fighting without the Colossus. Damage from behind. A lot of those Stalkers from DaddyForte not even doing anything. And Harstem is crushing this army. Yes, the Immortals are getting a lot of damage in, but it's not enough. That miss-rally from the Colossi, it was the big chance for Harstem, and he took it. 34 supply left for DaddyForte. And there's going to be the GG. And Harstem will move forward to the round of 64.